Well, now, this is the big question. What if you earn yourself 500 Kenyan shillings each and every day? How do you plan yourself? How do you grow the money? How do you budget it? So that at least you can invest and at least move towards the journey that we say is a financial freedom. And by the way, this is a world to an individual. Probably you are seeing that 500 shilling and you're saying, that's my credit in a day. Let me tell you one secret. There are people who are earning this amount of money each and every day. Probably some of them, they usually have families. How do you grow yourselves? How do you plan yourself? Okay? Now, that is the video for you. And guess what? I've actually distributed everything on this board for you to actually understand this. It may not be you, but you can get the information, share this information with someone who is doing the same. Probably these guys who are earning this amount of money, they sumbua you each and every time. That they just disturb you. Hey, lend me some money and what have you. So if you share this knowledge or if you share this video with them, they can be able to be helped and something of sort. And if it's you, then sit back, relax, and feel at home, because I'm going to take you step by step. And by the way, don't forget to hit that subscription button, like this video, and turn the notification bell. That is the only way our YouTube will notify you whenever I upload a new good video, so you don't miss any other, because this is what I do each and every time. I know you're already bored and you feel like, okay, fine, why don't you get started? Okay, fine, let me get started. Now, you have yourself 500 Kenyan shillings each and every day. You show up to that place that you work, you get your 500 Kenyan shillings, and you do have these big dreams, which is okay. Now, where do you start? First of all, there are things that you can never do away with. There are things that we call them the daily expenses. These are the things that you have to pay for them. These are likes of the food, likes of the transport, likes of the, communication, and the likes of, all those things just to make your, the wheel rolling for your life. Okay? Fine. The point is this. For me, I will talk about the rent, okay? And I will talk about expenses. The rest is you to decide where you channel your money. There's one thing that I want you to do at this particular point when you're earning this amount of money. Just appreciate the fact that at this particular point, there are some things that are out of your touch. Things to do with the nice to have. Forget about them. Not because that you can't achieve them and you'll never achieve or you don't deserve them. You do, but forget about them. Right now, what you need to incorporate at this amount of money, if that's what you're earning in a day, you should focus on growing yourself. Think about growth. Nothing about consumer mindset. Because if you incorporate consumer mindset with this amount of money, you're gonna mess up your life. Daily expenses, rent, I would recommend never exceed 30% of your total income at the end of the month. Probably this amount of money actually sums up to 15,000 at the end of the month. Now, what is the 30% of 15,000? That's like 4,500. Now, that you are the extreme end. Fully, I understand. Probably you want to get yourself quite a good home where it's actually near to your work because you want to cut off the transport. File well and good. Set aside 150 Kenyan shillings, because if you take 150 Kenyan shillings multiplied by 30, you get yourself 4,500. But again, if you ask me, I would recommend setting aside 100 Kenyan shillings each and every day for the purposes of the rent. I know somebody is about to be harsh on me, be like, where do you get a house worth 3,000 in Nairobi? Sometimes I say, even if it means you living in a shanty house, you'd rather look as if you don't think, but you do, rather than look as if you think, but that you don't. This is not an emotional thing. This is a logical thing. It's a sacrifice, a discipline. And that's why it's not successful. Not everyone will benefit from this video. That's the point, okay? I'm not a motivational speaker. I am a financial advisor. That's the difference. Now, I don't sell hope. I tell you the truth. Now, the point is this: if you can manage to set aside 100 Kenyan shillings towards your rent, then that means that you got yourself 3,000 set aside for the purposes of your rent, okay? Out of the 15,000, now you're left with some cash. You got also to eat and do other things. Now, I recommend setting aside 250 Kenyan shillings each and every day for the purposes of that. Now, that depends. If you set aside 250 with regard to 150, that's okay, because that makes it a 400. If you put aside 100 for the purposes of the housing, then you can put aside like 300 towards the daily expenses. These are the foods and what have you. Now, after you doing that, all what I'm doing at this particular area, I'm just, saying it in a very humble way, at least in a day, set aside 100 Kenyan shillings for the purposes of your savings. I repeat, or for me to actually incorporate this part, I'm actually considering you setting aside only 100 Kenyan shillings. That's it. Just 100 Kenyan shillings each and every day. So how much is that in a single month? That makes it 3,000. Okay? Now, out of this 3,000, now, if you were to save this amount of money for the next 6 months, okay, how much is that? Let's say that 6 months makes it like, that's good amount of money. But now the point is this: if you were to save just approximately 2,500 a month, okay, then that makes it 15,000 at the end of the 6 months. This is how I want you to do it. See, if you were to save yourself continuously, a whole year you get yourself 30,000. The next year you'll get yourself 60,000. That's 2 years gone. 4 years you get yourself 120,000. You haven't done any miracle. You are not actually, we cannot regard you as rich. You still have a long way to go. Let me tell you one secret. You have to make sure that you understand the formula of money, how it works. If you look for money, you get less. And if you get that is enough to feed you and do all those kind of things. This may be the long route to success. That's a reality. But the point is this, how do you do yourself? Now, you ask yourself, with this amount of money that I have as of now as 15,000, okay? But before I explain that, there's something I want to teach you here. That amount of money that you usually get each and every month, you should make sure that at least in a rate of 4 months, you've actually saved an equal amount of money equivalent to that what you get in a single month. Let me repeat. If you take, let's say this is month 1, 2, 3, 4. So by the time you finish the month 4, you ought to have saved amount that is equivalent to 1 month. Okay, if you can be able to do that, at every 4 months, you catch up with 1 month. Then it means you'll be able to catch up with at least 3 months in a single year. If you can be able to rate, or if you can be able to actually go by that rate of saving for 3 months in a single year, salary that's equivalent to 3 months in a single year, then your journey to success is actually, well, you know, it's dazzling and everything is good and the future is so nice for you. But if you cannot be able to catch up with that, then 5 months is recommended. But don't go beyond that, okay? Now, the point is this. Now, you have your 15,000 in the savings. Now, has this made you rich? No, you're not. Okay? So, what do you do with that 15,000? Now, this is where the aspect of risk you have to incorporate yourself. Now, ask yourself, what do I do to make these 500 Kenyan shillings? I'm employed in a hotel. Okay, fine. How can I scale my skills? Because at the end of the day, if you're employed in a hotel, you'll be paid according to the owner of that hotel, how they perceive you. It's not who will dictate how much. They pay you in 2 ways. A, they pay you according to how others are paying someone like you. Number 2, they pay you because they perceive you. That is the value of money that you're bringing in that specific place. Okay? Now, the point is this. You need to add value to yourself. Because with money, we don't make money. We attract money. You have value. You have to attach value to yourself. Whenever you're doing your things, you can be able to do things. Now, you can ask yourself, do I go online and actually subscribe to a skill where I learn something that I can be able to incorporate it and be able to monetize that skill in the future? If the answer is yes, if you're young, fine, go with that. If the answer is no, maybe you are just a family member, you're already busy, your life is entangled, like you're in a situation whereby you don't even have time to go and do exactly that. Now you ask yourself, if you have a family, you have a wife, what does she do? She just stays at home. Fine. We have a 15,000. I have a job that I'm getting 500 per day. Now, what can we do with this 15,000 so that at least we increase the basket of our income in this place? You talk to your wife, okay? And just because, let me tell you one secret. Just because you have a wife does not mean you should start a business with them. Some people are not just for business. They just squander your money. They don't understand. You have to understand your partner, right? So if the partner is for the business, then you're lucky. If it's not, then you can think of taking this money into a circle, all right? Meaning, or you should be saving that money into a circle. Meaning, okay, one thing you're supposed to understand, this 15,000 will never get you a humongous amount of money. So what you do, you align yourself with the like-minded people. And that's why I tell people, there doesn't make any sense of you having over 180, 200 guys in your phone book, but you don't even help each other. Nothing. It's just a call. Manu ilishinda or Chelsea ilishinda. That's just nonsensical thing. Does not even help you in any way. Align yourself with at least 10 people who knows what they are doing. You guys go open an account. You guys in a circle. You say that we'll be setting aside 100 Kenyan shillings. I made that video yesterday and I showed you how you can own a piece of land. It's as simple as that. 100 Kenyan shillings for 10 people. That's how much? Okay, that's a very good amount of money. You take that amount of money each and every day to that specific, place. Because that's 1,000 bob for all of you. For a whole year, you have 30,000. You can for a whole month, rather, you have 30,000. For a whole year, you have a good amount of money. In 2 years' time, you guys, in 1.5 years' time or 2 years' time, you have a piece of property. Now you have owned your property. You can liquidate that property, get good money, start a good business. Because now the problem is, you get a property, you think of building your house, you'll never grow. You see, because you've bought a plot in Kitengela or whatever the place, you've bought yourself a plot, you think of going there and building a shanty house so that you live, so that you escape from the rent. No, that's not how you grow yourself. You can liquidate that property, go buy a bigger one somewhere. You can actually drop in Kajiado and what have you, start growing garlic, start growing hoho and what have you. That's how you make money. Because honestly speaking, if you were to save this amount of money, even if it's the rest of your life, you ain't going to make a huge amount of money. The point is this, you salvage something. And I know this is quite a small squeezed budget. You salvage salvage at least 100 bob, you get yourself like 3,000. Just make it approximate of 2,500. You take 2,500 for 6 months, you have your 15,000. If you were saving by yourself, well, it's okay, but it's gonna take you a little bit of time. But if you do so with a good number of people, then it means at the end of the day, you can open an account, you get some good amount of money. Don't even need to get a debt or a loan from anybody. You can use that amount of money, acquire something. That is how you progressively. Or maybe in Ushago, if you get this amount of money, you can send this cash. They buy a small heifer there. That heifer actually gives birth and you can do some milk. Okay, the point is this: after some times you can sell that stock, you get some money. That's how you multiply some cash. That's how you multiply some cash. Did I promise it is easy? No, it is not easy. Did I promise it's fast? No, it is not fast. It takes time, it takes dedication. All what you need to do is to understand what actually works for me, what exactly can I use, and where exactly is the appropriate way of doing the things. Okay, now my parting shot is this: you can pick different areas where to invest. This 15,000, you can decide to talk with your partner if you're married to start a small business, and if you're a young guy, if you're not married, you can put your money into a circle. The circle is giving you dividends at the end of the year, but again, that won't make you rich. Even if you were to save the rest of your life, it ain't gonna make you like huge amount of money. So you can save there, but you're doing so as you're looking. First of all, somebody usually ask yourself, where you're employed, where you're making these 500 Kenyan shillings. Okay, you ask yourself, how can I improve myself in this kind of a regard? How can I start maybe the business that where I'm employed? Or maybe what exactly can I do with these savings of mine so that I can grow myself and move to the next level? That's the point. So the very, very important point is this: no matter how squeezed the budget it is, always make sure that at least you salvage some things for the purposes of investment. That's a reality. That's a reality. Doesn't require a miracle. It requires hard work. That's for sure. And I said success is an intersection between two things. It's a hard work and luck. So you cannot control luck. It's out of your control. But you can control hard work. You can control how you think. Do what you can. And I'm telling you, if you are disciplined, if a good huge amount of money shows up on your doorstep, you can actually manage to do something. The reason why I decided to make this video, I've been receiving calls from guys are telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I don't make that amount of money that you always talk about. But guess what? I make 500. What can I do with that amount of money? Now that's a formula that you can be able to do. All right, and be able to incorporate it and move to the next level. But again, if you're making 15,000, surely, and I know if I may say this may sound a bit controversial. If you're making 15,000, you're barely standing by yourself. Why on earth would you bring a family to yourself? And actually, because, hey, they're telling you are old. They're telling you should get a family and all those kind of things. Yeah, I know you may bring the aspect of God will provide and what have you. I'm not limiting that. That can actually work. But again, also God doesn't require a fool. You need to have yourself a budget. Sometimes when it comes to money, faith is needed, but actions as well as needed. So it is good to incorporate both of them so that at least you make a good decision. And this is what is killing Africans in terms of them growing. All right? You make decisions of getting a family not on the basis of if you're stable to do so, but on the basis you're growing old. Bro, you're gonna get yourself into problems. I ain't gonna deny you about that. I'm gonna tell you the truth. You're gonna get yourself into troubles. You're gonna copar every place so that you can sustain yourself. And you're coparing not to invest. You're coparing for you to exist and do what you call the consumables. Anyway, that's my point. But don't forget, you can always grab my number from the description of this specific video. Let's talk business and let's proceed to the next level. For now, it's a goodbye. But don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and see you in the next video. See ya.